Hello, everyone. Dane here from Moving to Canada. I'm here today to bring you the latest Express Entry draw results. Just happened a little bit earlier today. It is Wednesday, September 2nd. Most of you out there probably recognize me, but today I am joined by a very special guest, someone I'm very excited to have on to go over the draw results. Deanne Acres-Lans, a regulated Canadian immigration consultant and founder of Canada Abroad. Thank you so much for joining me today, Deanne.
Thanks for having me on.
So, Deanne, where are you located right now? Where are you filming this from?
Right now, I am in Ottawa, Canada.
Ottawa. Okay, nation capital. And you're
Yep.
hunkered down at home, eh? Just like just like all of us.
Just like everybody else, trying to find a little quiet corner of the house to, to do this in.
Yeah, I'm like in the dining room area of the apartment I'm in right now, and my roommate is on the other corner of the apartment teaching us singing lessons. So
Oh my goodness. Okay. Lots of noise
yeah,
there.
if anyone hears someone doing scales in the background, it's my roommate. So Deanne, you founded Canada Abroad. Before we get into the Express Entry draw results, which will be coming up in just a moment, can you tell our viewers just a little bit about Canada Abroad?
Yeah, so we basically assist people who are looking at trying to move and immigrate to Canada. Usually, we have an initial consultation where we just try to get the person's background and see what programs they're eligible for, if any, and then kind of give them the best choices and options. And then usually, people go and do it on their own. And if they get stuck or feel that they need a bit of assistance navigating it, we're completely licensed to do applications as well.
Okay, great. And for people who are considering hiring an immigration consultant, I've pulled up Canada Abroad's information on the Moving to Canada website, so you can see that displayed here. You guys are one of the consultants that we recommend. We do a pretty harsh review of people, make sure that people are legitimate, make sure that you guys do what you say you're going to do, and Canada Abroad passed the test. So we're very happy to recommend you guys to our audience members. And I'll toss a link in the description of the video if anybody's interested in getting more info about Deanne and Canada Abroad. You can click that link for more information. But that's not why you guys are all here today. You are here today to get the latest Express Entry draw results. So let's hop right into that. I'm going to pull up the draw results on the Moving to Canada website. So Deanne, today was the 162nd Express Entry draw. Which programs were eligible in today's draw?
Well, luckily for everyone out there, it was all categories again. So federal skilled workers, federal skilled trades, Canadian experience class, and provincial nominees.
Excellent. Yeah, and that's we're seeing a little bit of a new pattern emerge potentially, and we'll get to that in a moment. But let's get into the nitty gritty, the important information here. How many invitations were issued in today's draw?
Well, it was actually quite high. Even I
Mm-hmm.
was surprised when I saw the numbers today. It was 100 invitations to apply. So I think this is one of the highest ones we've seen this year.
It's one of the highest ones in the history of the program. I checked it, and there was a 4,500
Mm,
round earlier this year, but it's very rare that they issue
yeah.
more than 3,900 in a single draw. So that's great news. And as is often the case when they issue a lot of invitations, we saw the CRS score cutoff dip only by a little bit. If you guys remember back at the beginning of August when we had the last all program draw, it was 476. As you can see, I've got the numbers pulled up here. It dipped down to 475 in today's draw, so it was just a 1 point dip. And I'm just going to pull up and open the latest draw results so you guys can get an idea of how the draws have been shaping up lately. So, Deanne, we had an all-program draw take place today.
Yes.
Uh, and this is the third all-program draw since the COVID pandemic shut down the Canadian borders back in March. But we're seeing, as I mentioned, a bit of a pattern emerge, sort of an alternating approach. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, when we saw that first draw in July with the federal skilled workers, I think we're all a bit hesitant to see if they were going to draw those people again. But now we have seen this pattern emerge. So today it was an all categories draw. And what we've seen is 2 weeks from now, on the Wednesday, it should be a draw just for provincial nominees. And then the next day on the Thursday, it should be for the Canadian Experience class. And then 4 weeks again from today, we should see it for all categories again. So they're just alternating each draw, all categories, and then just provincial nominees and Canadian Experience class.
Exactly. And that's, I've got our chart of recent draws pulled open here so you guys who are viewing can see exactly what we're talking about here. Just one note, as Deanne is saying, we should see them go to a PNP and CEC specific draw 2 weeks from now. But should is an important word there. IRCC and Express Entry, they're notorious
To
for
do what they want.
to do whatever they want. They like to set up patterns and then totally shatter the expectations
Pretty
they've
much, yeah.
created. It's really fun. Well, and I mean, right now we're in such an uncertain time. It's tough to predict all of the variables that are at play. There's normally we're looking at what are the things that normally affect the CRS score, the number of ITAs, the number of people in the pool.
Yeah.
But right now we also have this whole other variable, which is COVID.
Yeah, and increased processing time, less staff to process those files. So, I mean, I've actually been surprised that they've been doing normal amounts of ITAs in each draw. I was kind of half expecting them to go back to like the first year, 900 ITAs or something like that. But luckily, they've been doing large amounts, so that's a good thing at least.
Yeah, thankfully. I mean, it seems at least as far as Express Entry is concerned, like they are sort of sticking to the immigration levels that they'd laid out in the immigration levels plan for this year.
Yeah.
So I mean that's great news, but of course we don't know if that will if that will
Hold true
sustain.
for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean it you can do a lot of the immigration application whether you're in Canada or outside Canada. So
Oh, yeah.
they're able to do a lot of processing. It's just the coming into Canada right now that they've sort of put a. You can do your application for a lot of things, but you might not be able to travel right now.
Yeah, that's the big issue for a lot of people is kind of, okay, well, if your visa wasn't issued before March 18th, you're still waiting to get into the country.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a really important piece of news that I also wanted to take a moment to share with our audience. I'm just going to pull up the COVID news feed on the Moving to Canada website here. And this is regarding the international travel restrictions that Deanne and I are talking about right now. They have banned the vast majority of foreign nationals from entering Canada at this time. And the public safety minister here in Canada, Bill Blair, he came out last week and announced that they're extending that ban until at least September 30th. Of course, we don't know if that will. It's not guaranteed that it will lift on September 30th. It's actually more likely that it will be extended. They're sort of negotiating it on a month-to-month basis. So, Deanne, since we've got you here, let's talk a little bit about immigration consultants in relation to Express Entry. So we have a ton of people in our audience who are always asking, should I get an immigration consultant? Does it make sense at this point? Can you tell our audience when does it make sense to hire an immigration consultant or work with an immigration consultant?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a few different scenarios, and it really depends on your background. So, what we find is most helpful, to be honest, is getting a consultation. And the reason we say that is so many times we get approached by people that say, I'm in Express Entry, why haven't I been picked? Like, they actually have no understanding of how the system works or that you actually have to have a high enough score. They just assume that if they went and did a language test and got their degrees assessed, they were going to get to immigrate to Canada. So, usually consultations are the most useful for people just to find out, am I eligible? If I go through all this cost of doing a language test and my education assessment, am I actually going to get to immigrate at the end of the day? And once we've gone through that with people, usually most people are competent enough to go through the express entry system on their own. And I know that's not good for me to say it, but it's the truth. And we just find if people kind of get stuck or something's not going as expected with the score, that maybe something's entered incorrectly, that we can check it for people and do reviews. More complicated cases maybe, or the work history is a bit more complicated, or they're self-employed where there's additional documents needed, or maybe there's a criminal record or a medical issue involved. That's usually when you would want to get some professional advice because there's going to be a little bit more in-depth paperwork required for something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a really fair point. We actually say one of the red flags to watch out for with consultants is if they consultants and immigration lawyers is if they don't offer a one-on-one
Hmm.
consultation,
Yeah.
and they try to charge you, pay me $2,500 up front before we even start like
Over the
looking.
phone with a credit card. Yeah.
Yeah, if people offer a consultation like you do, you get an idea of what you're capable of, and then it's in the hands of the prospective newcomer as to whether or not they need to retain your services. And for some people, it's just a convenience thing. Some people
Yeah, that too. They just don't have the time to
they,
do it,
yeah,
but
and
yeah.
it's complicated, and the PR application for Express Entry is extremely detailed, and just a tiny mistake, as you and I both know, can be grounds for refusal.
Yeah.
And we run an immigration forum on Facebook, and we've seen a bunch of
Mm.
people coming through with some refusals because they forgot to attach some documents, even though there are some special measures in place during COVID. It can be difficult to navigate right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't kind of give you the luxury of, oh, you forgot this. Can you send it to us? It's sort of, it's not there, canceled. You have to go through it all over again. So they're not very lenient. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So just before we close off here, once again, I'm going to pull open the Canada Abroad page on the Moving to Canada website, so you can see this here if you want to read more information about Deanne and Canada Abroad. You can check that out. I'll pop a link in the description here. And as Deanne mentioned, a great way to get started is with a one-on-one consultation. Of course, during these COVID times and even before COVID times, Deanne, you offered virtual consultations as an option. So you guys can
Yep.
check that out here. I'm just pulling open the Canada Abroad website here as well, so you can see what that looks like. But again, all the links are in the description here. So I think that about covers it for today's Express Entry draw results, as well as a little bit of learning about Canada Abroad and learning about when it makes sense to work with an immigration consultant. So Deanne, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Did you have just a little bit of fun?
I did. It was actually nice to do one of these with somebody else, not just
I
talking to myself.
I totally agree. I was doing them with Hugo before COVID happened, and then after that hit, I was doing. It's hard to just monologue through Express Entry draw results. I don't know. I prefer doing it with another person, so I'm glad that you could join
Yeah,
us.
it can get boring week after week if there's nobody there to talk to. Yeah.
Exactly. Great. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have questions that we didn't cover here, drop them in the comments. Make sure you like this video. If you want to be one of the first to find out when the next draw happens, make sure you subscribe. You can also check out Canada Abroad. Deanne, you have a ton of videos here on YouTube, so you can check out the Canada Abroad channel as well for tons of other immigration information, updates, and how-tos. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time.